What a feast we have today. Hello, I'm Humphrey Hawksley, your host for Goldster Inside Story. And to reveal that I have no conflict of interest with our guest, I am a dreadful cook. I know very little about it, not much about food either, which is why we have with us today a chef of fantastic skills, talent, and imagination. See, he's standing, not sitting like our usual guests. He's standing because he's going to show us things that we do. He was raised in a village in faraway Malaysia. He knows how to tell the freshness of a fish through the color of its eyes and how to bid for it at auction. And you can go with him and do it yourself in Malaysia in September, I think, but we will find out more about this. So he's standing quietly, and in case things go dreadfully wrong, on this show, we are doing a sort of two-camera cooking experiment. This is Goldster. We are expanding, we are technical, and we are global. And our guest is going to show us at some stage how to whip up an exotic dish from ingredients that you should be able to get at your local supermarket. That's if you can get anything in a supermarket nowadays. Now, we have two books that we're discussing. I have one, which is Malaysian Food, full of fantastic recipes. And the other one that he is holding up is Amazing Malaysian, and that's 100 Malaysian dishes. And to compile all of those recipes into one conversation, welcome Norman Musa to Goldster.
Hello, Humphrey. Hello. How are you doing?
It's great. Show us Amazing Malaysian again. Let's get that cover in our minds. Absolutely fantastic. Now, if you want either of those books, the buy link, I'm going to put it in the chat. And if you want to ask Norman how to cook, what to buy, he's here for you. He's not here for me. He's here for you, and he will answer it if he can. Now, Norman, before we move on to food, which I want you to show us and everything, I want to know about you. You were born in a village, or a kampong, as it's called, on the west coast of Malaysia, near a very English-sounding town, like out of the Cotswolds, called Butterworth. How did all that unfold?
This is like a Butterworth. Well, I mean, you know, well, I guess everyone knows that British actually conquered Malaysia back in like 19th century. Okay, from Dutch, I think, and before Dutch was Portuguese. So it's lots of like colonization happened in Malaysia before, and gratefully, like British actually left lots of like a nice architecture, the buildings. You've been to Penang before, my hometown.
Yes.
And in all these beautiful buildings in Kuala Lumpur as well. And and Butterworth is actually one of the names that left. Before, I mean, the area was called Province Wellesley. So it was first founded by Sir Francis Light back in 1716. And he actually landed like in the village where my late grandma used to live as well, or where my mom was born actually. So so there's lots of like a fantastic history about Penang, my hometown.
Right, so, and just to touch on this, I mean, a lot of people change names back, don't they? After independence, Butterworth didn't want to do that. It quite liked its name.
We retained Butterworth, and then there's still like the train station, and so lots of nice buildings left in Butterworth as well, and also in Penang mainly. Yeah. So
describe to me the village. Your first memories as a little boy of this village. It was on the coast, was it? It is. Explain. Tell us.
A lot of where I grew up is called Kampung Sungainyo. Kampung is actually the Malay translation for village, and there's a lot of like coconut trees, because where I grew up, it was like the coconut trees are plantation back in 19th century. So yes, lots of coconut trees, I remember. And if there's like a typhoon or like a storm, it's really scary because you can see the coconut trees kind of waving. Yeah, most houses like been, knocked down by the coconut trees many times before. So, but again, it was such fun, like to grow up in the village, because again, back then there was no technologies in the 1970s, 80s. So what we did was just like we went out and then I played with other kids, with my sister and brother. So that's the best time actually.
And did you live in one of these houses on stilts with the water underneath?
Or? Yes, with the wooden steps going up. And
Yeah.
I remember back in the 80s, my late parents kind of extended, and so they preferred to have the kitchen down on the ground. So we built like kind of like a half concrete and half timber house, like just for the kitchen extension. So that's why I learned a lot cooking from my late mom by watching her first, but she was quite reluctant to let me help her out because she always believed that the daughters should be helping out. But again, I told this waitress journalist writer before that my sister was rather spend time watching TV than helping her out. So it was me. Like, how about?
Oh, is that how you learned to cook originally? Because your sisters were watching TV, you were the guy. You were meant to be chopping coconuts or something.
She's still not pleased with me telling stories about that. She'd rather watch TV actually. But I was happy to help out my late mom in the kitchen. I mean, the garlic, onions, and everything, shallots. Yeah. So, and then by watching her, I didn't realize that memories kind of like captured. And then after I moved to the UK, and I started cooking based on these memories. And if I'm, like struggling with some of the recipes, I always on the phone to her, asking her how to cook this and that. Yeah. So that's how this came about. So most recipes, yeah.
That's how you go. But wasn't it the case though that your family or your parents wanted you to do what we call a proper job? They wanted you to be an architect, a lawyer, or a doctor, and you did that, didn't you?
I did. Yes. It's always a typical Malaysian parents' dream, like to have their children to have degrees and work as engineer, like architect, lawyers, or doctors, and everything. Because they always believe that education, so it's very important anyway. But I did that. So I got a degree in quantity surveying. I was graduated in Portsmouth University.
Okay.
So I did work as a surveyor for 10 years until I gave up to become a chef.
So hold on a second. So you're a kid playing around with the coconut trees and in the water on a stilted house, and you're sort of getting interested in food because your sister's watching TV all the time, but the family feels it's not quite right for you. And then you came over here to Britain to become a quantitative surveyor. What does a quantitative surveyor do exactly?
Okay, so if you have lots of money, I could imagine you do anyway, but and you want to build a house, and then you will go to the architect and to ask like to design a house, and the architect will come to me and ask me to price how much the house is going to cost you. So that's my job, and I will look after your money. So I'm going to tell you, Humphrey, okay, so this month you have to pay the contractor like £10 million or something to build the concrete. Yeah, so the foundation, for example, that's my job. Yeah, so that's why.
And you hated it.
Really hated it, especially when I have to argue with the architects and engineers, because if they overspend, I have to tell them off. And then so it's always ever so scary to tell the client. So like you won't be happy if I say to you that, oh, you overspent like £10 million. So so that's not something that I really enjoy actually. So that's why I started thinking like, what actually I can do apart from this, because after I did my degree, and then my late parents was ever so proud, and then they even hang the degree certificate in the living room, because I was the only one in the village that actually further studied abroad. So they were very, very proud. So I did that, and so when I gave up after 10 years.
So how did you make that transition financially as well as anything else to afford to become a chef? Follow your world, your heart's dreams.
One of the hardest thing that was it was hard for me to tell my late mom actually. So I was so scared, and I only told her that after 2 weeks, when she was due to come and visit me in Manchester at that time. And then I told her that, Mom, I gave up my job, and now I become a chef, and then I open up a restaurant. And she was so angry. So she started, not screaming. I mean, she was angry because like she thought that I'm not going to do well as a chef, because she actually, my late parents used to have a restaurant back in Butterworth. So being in the restaurant business is always hard work. Yeah. So and she thought it's not going to guarantee my yeah, my finance and all that.
I mean, I just want to keep on this for a moment, because we've had a number of people on the show who have wanted to be artists or writers or something, and have had this head and heart struggle. And in your case, you wanted to be a chef, which is like being an artist or a writer or something, and you were fighting your family on it.
Well, that's what I believe, that you know, you have to be passionate in something, that what you're going to do or what you're doing. So I mean, that's going to, yeah, so sky is the limit, so you can achieve anything. And I started from zero, and this morning I was like thinking, I did actually work in a cafe in Manchester before, and only lasted for a day just to gain experience. So
right. Because, what, like a Greasy Spoon cafe or a
vegetarian
Michelin star cafe?
Yeah, vegan cafe actually. So yeah, so and I saw how they manage the kitchen, everything, and the system. So you have to adopt the right system together with the staff as well. Staff is not ever so easy. I mean, like, especially to find in Malaysian cuisine. So yeah. So I started like that, and I only lasted for a day, and I learned a lot, and I told myself that, okay, I'm gonna make sure my kitchen is much better than this. So yeah, so I started from zero. This kind of like inspired many people who I taught at my master classes and all that. So I keep telling them, if I started from zero, so can everyone, so can you anyway.
And then you opened restaurants, you got the financing, you opened restaurants, they were a huge success, and you won awards and became an envoy for the Kuala Lumpur food in the UK or something.
Yeah, so back in 2015, I was appointed as the Kuala Lumpur food ambassador. And at the same time, I did meet the tourism minister in Paris, Malaysian tourism minister in Paris. He did offer me to be the Malaysian food ambassador. But I told him I wasn't quite ready yet at that time. Let me just handle Kuala Lumpur first, because I know it's good. You know, when I do something like that, I want to make sure that everything's done right. So yes, I was the ambassador for a year. So my job was to promote Kuala Lumpur as the gastronomic city to the European market. So we did lots of tours in Paris, in Germany, in Berlin. And then they gave me like 3 months to work on the food festival back in Malaysia. So that was like really hard work, but it was really successful.
Oh, that's now. I think this was your first book, was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it came out in 2009. I, of course, ordered the wrong one. You've got the one that's your latest. But this is an important.
There, haven't you?
Yeah, this is an important book, isn't it? Because it reconciled you with your mother and your family.
That was actually the book that she managed to see and kind of give me the blessing. That's my late mom.
Yeah. And she saw that and she said, okay, my son's made it. He's made good.
Yep. Yeah. So sorry, I got emotional a bit.
Oh.
Sorry. Okay. Right.
It's a happy break, is it? A happy thought? Yeah. That's and so you did that, and then you kept going in your restaurants, your consultancy, and everything like that.
Actually, yeah. So she saw the book, and then 2 weeks after that, I went to join the Formula One as well. So
yes, that's right. Yes.
As a race chef. So I was still doing the restaurant, and also I did the Formula One, travel around the world with the Formula One team Lotus at that time. So it was run by Tony Fernandez. So yeah. So there's a lot going on in 2010 actually.
So just sort of, we're going to go on to food in just a second, and everybody out there, anything that you've got to ask or talk about Malaysian food, Asian food generally, because it is a sort of a culmination of lots of things. But I want to ask you one more thing about the Formula One. You were flying around the world cooking for racing drivers, is that right?
Yes, and everyone thought that I was like driving the car. I was far too tall and then overweight to drive a car actually. But yeah, so I was traveling with the team, and our drivers at that time, it was Yano Trulli, the Italian driver, and the Finnish driver, Hakkinen, I think. Yeah, I can't remember his name. So I meet lots of like Formula One drivers, like what's the British driver? Hamilton.
Okay.
And there's another one, Jason Munton. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I do like.
So I think this gets us to the food. What is the qualities of Malaysian food that makes it? Is it healthy, unhealthy? I mean, what are the qualities that makes it so special?
I would say Malaysian food is like very healthy in the sense like we use lots of herbs and spices, and yeah, so some herbs and spices are really good for your body as well. And it's just like you have to be careful with the amount of oil that actually you use. Like my cooking is like I always use little oil. I mean, not too much. But again, talking about Malaysian food, it's so diverse, and so it's in a unique kind of way because we have like a multi-ethnic, like me, Malay, and then there's a Chinese, and also Indians. I mean, thanks to the British actually, who invited these Chinese and Indians from mainlands to work in Malaysia, Indians in rubber plantation, and also Chinese in tin mines. So it kind of like shaped, the history kind of shaped what Malaysia is today. So so in between these Chinese and Malays, we have this Baba and Nyonya, okay, so the Peranakan, and they have such beautiful cuisine, very elaborate with more than 20 or so ingredients. So yeah, it's very unique kind of a cuisine.
I mean, historically, Malaysia has been this sort of melting pot, a meeting point between cultures, hasn't it? The Arab traders came there, the European traders came there, and they were all accepted. There was no sense of, so all of that, those different cultures feed into the Malaysian ingredients.
It is, yeah. So you can see like that restaurant or cafe, you can see like different races, ethnics like that sitting down, enjoying the food. Okay, so I have like lots of Chinese friends and Indian friends as well. So everyone's going well. I mean, and actually the food that what brings Malaysians together. Yeah.
The food brings me. Now, I know that you've got a tray there. I don't want you to start cooking yet, but I want you to pick up the ingredients and tell us what is what and how you're going to use it. Yeah.
Okay, so the dish that I've cooked, well, I'm going to show how to cook. It's actually my mom's recipe. My late mom's recipe is called my mom's chicken rendang. So you can find in that book the one that you're holding, and also this one as well.
It's in both of them, is it? Yes.
Yeah, the one that you're holding is actually self-published. So so when I was doing the restaurant, so I thought it would be nice to kind of having something documented and then give out to or sell to the customers. So yeah, so my mom's chicken rendang. So I have here lemongrass. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the dried chilies I've actually soaked in a boil in the hot water. So basically, like I want to soften the texture. If you don't have this, you can always just get like a fresh chilies, but I prefer to use this because so first you can keep long in your kitchen cupboard, okay, and second it's going to bring like beautiful color to your rendang as well, so reddish color, okay. And
so lemongrass and chili.
Chilies. So then we have this galangal. Okay, so it's the same family as ginger and turmeric. It kind of a very citrusy, so not easily can be found like in like a normal supermarket, but you can find this in Asian shops and all that. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you don't have this, you can replace it with ginger and a teaspoon of lemon juice. So, and then we have shallots and then coffee lime leaf.
Like don't rush through shallot. Show us the shallot.
Shallot. So this is like a round shallots, but in my recipe, the Amazing Malaysian, it refers to the banana shallot. Yeah. So so you can use these round shallots. It's fine. So you just have to add a couple.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So and then we have tamarind. So this is kind of a souring agent. So anything spicy, right? So you need to kind of add in like tamarind. So it's like it kind of compromise like blend together. So you have sugar and also coconut milk. Okay.
Coconut milk, yes.
Yeah. And also, this is kind of a key ingredient for rendang, okay? Toasted coconut, but this has not been toasted yet. So I have the cream coconut block, right? The authentic way of preparing toasted coconut is by frying desiccated coconut until golden brown. And then you have to use pestle and mortar to pound it until it turns to paste. And you see like a layer of oil. So that is coconut oil. And so that's the ingredient that you're going to add in towards the end.
Okay. That's.
I'm going to show you the trick, the cheap way how to prepare this toasted coconut.
So somebody who is not familiar with cooking this type of food, whether it could actually go out and buy this stuff, follow your recipe, and cook up a dish without any disasters.
Yeah. So someone like you, I'm sure you can.
Someone
cook.
like I could do it.
Yes, of course you can. I'm sure you can cook as well. So something like a cafe lime leaf, if you don't have any, right? So you can always just replace with lime rind to give kind of a zesty flavor. Yeah. So so you can do that. Okay.
And what is the name of this recipe? I'm going to put it in the chat so people.
It's rendang. 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 RENENAD. D for Denmark, A for Apple, N for Norman, and G for Ghana.
And say again?
Rendang. Rendang. DANG.
BAND.
Okay. Actually, because now is
I got it, I think. Yep.
It's a Ramadan, so we always cook this dish for Eid celebration.
Yeah.
The celebration for the Muslims. So if you go to Malaysia on this celebration day, so every household they'll be cooking rendang. So I remember went back home to celebrate this, and I have to visit. It's a must to visit all the cousins, all the relatives. You're gonna end up eating rendang in every single house that you visit.
So this is the signature celebration dish.
It is, yes. Yeah. It is, yeah. It's a must for everyone to cook this actually.
Okay. Okay, that's brilliant. Now tell us, you're going to show us, you're going to actually, Lynn Richards has corrected me, rendang, is that right?
Rendang, yes.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Lynn. Any comments you've got, Lynn? Give them to Norman, because we could improve this dish, couldn't we, with our audience? They could tell you to put a little bit of this, a little bit of that in it. Off you go.
This dish, I mean, you can cook either with chicken, with beef, or you can make it even vegan. Yeah, so and then it's gluten-free as well, so there's no gluten, so it's very good actually.
So it can be gluten-free and vegan, and it's a celebratory Malaysian signature dish. Brilliant. Okay, let's see if our cameras can keep right and everything.
This,
bear with us whilst we adjust to the kitchen.
So I don't know whether you can see my chopping board.
Yeah, you're not going to chop up Amazing Malaysian, are you?
No. I have my cleaver knife here, so which I can actually. I did normally with a knife. I always carry it in a file. When I was traveling with Formula One, I completely forgot that that knife file was actually in my hand luggage. So I almost lost like £1,000 worth of knife at one point, but I managed to rescue it actually. So yeah, what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna cut this. So this coconut block comes in this plastic wrapper. So I'm just gonna cut this into small pieces. So then I'm gonna remove the wrapper. So that's going straight to the pan. So this is a cheap way of how to prepare this toasted coconut. Okay. Yeah. Just gonna scrap this. This is why I like to use a cleaver, because you can scrap everything on the chopping board and just put straight into the pan. All right. So I'm gonna turn this on. So we're gonna toast this.
Yes, Jindar says it's a cooking show. We're a book show and a cooking show now. Is it a good idea?
Yeah, that's a good idea, don't you think?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, so, oh, sorry. Yeah, that's fine. So with the, all the herbs, right? So, okay, with the lemongrass, you want to make sure that, okay, if there's a dry skin, so you're gonna like remove the outer skin, but this one should be fine. So, and then you only use the bottom half only, okay? So the top bit is gonna be fibery. So, so it's better because it's as smoother down here, yeah? So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to chop this or thinly slice. Oh, just do one at a time. So in my recipe, it says that you have to use like a couple of lemongrass that you can bruise. Actually, you don't have to waste this. So the tip, you can just bruise this and then to infuse the dish, yeah? So you don't have to throw this away. So I'm going to bruise this.
Okay. So you cut about halfway down, little more than halfway.
Okay, it's fine. This okay. So and then we have all these like this is the galangal. So basically, we just thinly slice all these, and then we're gonna blend with a dash of water, and then just get the turn it into paste. Yeah. So just gonna slice this all together. In my mom's recipe, I didn't change anything for that recipe. So there's 20 dried chilies. Okay, so there's a lot of chili.
I'm looking it up in the book as you speak now. And this is the chili that you're cutting now, is it?
Yes, these are the dried chilies that comes in a packet.
Yeah.
And then boil this in water just to soften.
Yes.
And then we have ginger. And I'm going to show you how to peel ginger easily. So you use a teaspoon to peel the ginger.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
Easier that way.
Yeah.
So come off easily. Okay.
So we have onion, chili, and lemongrass there at the moment. Yes. Yep.
So we have onion, shallot, and also garlic. Okay. And so basically, well, I'm not going to show everyone how to peel this, but because everyone knows how to do that. So basically, chop all these ingredients together, and then once you finish, and then you have to blend with a dash of water and try to find paste. So and then turn into a paste like this. You see that? So this is only a bit of the one that I use actually to cook earlier, which I'm going to show you how. I mean, I've already cooked ready the chicken rundown because it takes about an hour to kind of simmer it down. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing I love about my mom's recipe, because you don't have to kind of like saute or fry all these ingredients first. You can just put everything together, bring it to boil, and then just simmer it down for an hour. So as good as that. Very simple to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So let me just show you. Okay. So so once you got all that, and then I'm just going to show you what I've done. So this is kind of like the one that kind of simmered down for an hour. Just going to lift it up and you see that.
Okay, that's already done. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to finish this off with toasted coconut and also cafe lime leaf. So these are the two ingredients I'm going to add it right to the end.
Yep.
And then I'm going to cook for a minute or so, and then that's it. When that's done. Okay.
Yep,
so
go for it.
While we're chatting, and then this toasted coconut going to be ready. So
yep.
I'll show you the end, like how this chicken rundown is going to look like. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
This is fascinating. Yeah.
So what time are you coming over for lunch?
I was going to say, how are we going to taste this and know whether it's any good or not? But but what was the first dish you ever cooked professionally? Was it this?
I remember when I was interviewed by my sponsor before for my study abroad. They asked me whether I can cook rice. And then I didn't even know how to fry an egg. They said, how are you going to live alone and abroad if you don't know how to cook? I said, yeah, that was a good point, actually. So, but I would say the first one I did was fried, sort of what we call almost like a mackerel. So yeah. It's covered, coated with turmeric and a bit of salt, just shallow fry in oil. And after I finished cooking that, none of my family members wanted to eat it. The reason why, because I forgot to cut it. So to remove, I know that's right. So my mom said you forgot to clean the fish properly. So that's why no one wanted to eat it. So yeah, so that was something to waste. So that was the first dish I cooked.
So when you were growing up and you were going to the market looking for food and doing that with your family, here you go to the supermarkets. Tell us about the market and the auction of the fish and everything like that.
Yeah, there's a famous place, a fishing village in Butterworth called Kuala Muda, right? So you have to go there early in the morning after the fishermen return.
Early being what, 5 a.m., 9 a.m.?
No, it's about 6 or 7 a.m. actually.
That's early,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so you want to be there first because the way they kind of like auction the fish is it normally comes in like a big kind of basket or so. you have to whisper to the fish, the fisherman himself. So there's no kind of a fishmonger, so fisherman himself, and then the highest bidder will get that bucket of seafood, fish especially, yeah.
Okay,
So
and you can tell the freshness of it. How do you tell us how you can tell the freshness of the fish?
Okay, one is still moving, like it's still alive.
If it smells.
And then the second is by looking at the eyes. Okay, so if the eyes is still clear, so that means the fish is still fresh. Okay. And of course, you can see the scales as well, so it's still nice and shiny as well. So that's a couple of tips that my late mom shared with me. If you go into the fish market, so those are two things that you need to look at.
So if you go into Tesco's or Sainsbury's or something here and you see the fish counter, and they're all lying there on the ice, how does that freshness compare to the freshness that you would have seen in the Butterworth villages?
Well, first of all, I mean, you probably like smell the sea. So that's like oysters. You can taste the ocean. Like
so you would smell the sea on the fish in.
Yeah. Just it's beautiful.
And the eye color and skin color.
The eye very clear. Okay, so and then the skin color, it's almost kind of like it's not bluish. You can see kind of a nice reflection, nice and shiny as well. Yeah.
And on the Tesco or the Sainsbury's fish counter?
Well, if you can have like a fresh markets like mine, it's just like this indoor market, these markets, I'd rather go there than the supermarkets actually, especially if everything's wrapped in a clean film and all that. So
okay, you mean here where you are in where are you, in Manchester? You mean that they've got a fresh market there?
Yeah, I live in Leeds now, so the indoor market, Kirkgate Market, is just opposite me. My apartment, and then so I went to get a nice fresh seafood from. They have beautiful like a fish counter there, so many stalls there, so it's very good actually. Yeah.
I can see you've got to keep cooking now, so I'll stop asking.
Don't burn my rundown actually. So just do you have any questions from the viewers? Or
nobody's asking at the moment. They're completely wrapped in whether it's going to explode or not. But if anybody's got a question, maybe how to make bacon and eggs in Malaysian cooking or something, anything you want to ask, Norman's here.
If you're coming up north in future to Yorkshire, do come and visit the restaurant where I work at the moment. So I'm a consultant for this restaurant, Kuala Lumpur restaurant in Hawksley.
Kuala Lumpur restaurant, okay. Yeah.
So you need to remember, Kuala Lumpur is the capital of Malaysia. So it's called Kuala Lumpur, and so we open 6 days per week, and every weekend we run like a Malaysian tapas, like in small plates and bowls. So that's something that you can so you can visit my website normanmusa.com. You can see lots of details about the restaurant as well. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Kuala Lumpur restaurant. And if they say they're Goldster subscribers, you'll be extra nice to them, will you?
Definitely. I'm sure the owners will be happy to get any customers from Goldsters. Actually, even you should come up here. And
I will on my next visit to Manchester, definitely. Yeah.
So so I'm doing this toasted coconut now.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put on a high heat.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is going to turn to brown. So apart from cooking at the restaurant, I actually do teach as well. So I run master classes, and this Saturday we have Malaysian master class, and it's fully booked. So so I'm happy. That's something that, let me just so you can see my face again. So that's something that I love doing, teaching people. Get them inspired about Malaysian cooking. So apart from teaching at the restaurant, I do run classes at the cookery classes at Braxton Park Cookery School, and also the Food Works. And I've just signed up with Leeds Cookery School, where I'm going to be teaching, and also I will be teaching in Amsterdam and also The Hague as well.
Amsterdam and The Hague.
Yes.
And any branches of your restaurant in London?
No, unfortunately not in London, but I do run like a supper club of pop-ups, which I regularly run.
Okay, so, well, Well, that's no, that's then you need to expand. If you're doing Amsterdam, you can do London, surely.
Because the reason why I'm going back to the Netherlands, actually, I did live there for 3 years. So I only came back to the UK in October last year.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yes, I did. So lots going on with my life, and so unfortunately, like COVID came, and yeah, so obviously people like me in the industry kind of affected really bad. So yeah, but I'm glad to be back in the UK because lots going on here now, and my new book coming out in October. So I'm excited for that.
Your new one, is that Amazing Malaysian, or there's another one?
This time it's gonna be Southeast Asian. Yeah, so it's gonna be dishes from Thailand, from Indonesia, from Malaysia, and then from Vietnam, and also Philippines as well. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting.
Well, tell us a little bit. I mean, Malaysian food is distinct from, say, Vietnamese food. How and why?
Well, okay, if you put so to define Malaysian food, it's kind of almost similar to Thai food, actually. Thai food and Indonesian food. In fact, we do have lots of influences. Like if you go down south of Malaysia, like Johor, next to Singapore, so the food is kind of influenced by Indonesian. And if you go up north, like to Kedah or Perlis and all that, even my hometown, it's kind of influenced by Thai as well. So we do like spicy food. Yeah, up north. Yeah.
So do Malay, because Thais, I think many of us know that's been there, they eat with a spoon and a fork. The Chinese eat with chopsticks. What do Malaysians eat with?
Fingers.
Fingers?
Yes. Fingers. Yeah. So
no cutlery.
No cutlery. So it's very impolite if you eat with fork and spoon, if everyone is eating with fingers. So that's a...
And do you have a finger bowl that you dip into and a napkin and everything? But it's all fingers, is it?
There's a bowl of water that will be prepared by the guest, also by the host, and then make sure that the people can just walk. In fact, if you go to like a tradition, like to the weddings or something, they will have like a teapot thing with some bowl underneath, so you can just wash your hands there, so you don't have to go to the
Okay.
And so if you're going to do that, make sure you eat it with your right hand, not the left hand.
Yes,
as well.
That's right. Yes. And that's the sort of, then you're moving into South Asia a bit. So my other question is, when does rice stop and bread start, or naan start? I mean, rice is your staple carbohydrate, but then if you get to Afghanistan or I don't know, maybe Myanmar, you get the naan bread, don't you?
Yes. So rice is always a staple food. So I remember my late mom, she came over, and then she always had to make sure that she ate rice every day. So I mean, for me, like probably once a month or something, because I don't unless I go back to Malaysia, and then it's a must for you to eat whatever is being cooked for you. Right? Without complaining, and it's very rude for you to say no to the food that's been offered.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
I remember when I was doing this culinary tour back in 2014, and I turned up at my cousin's house unnoticed. Okay, so I purposely did that because I know the fact that she would have cooked like at least about 10 to 15 dishes just to welcome me and the guests that on my tour. So so she was kind of surprised, and then I said like, so I don't want to bother you as much because I know the fact that you're going to spend half a day cooking like for us. So let's not do that. So what I did, took her out and her family to the nearby seafood kind of a grill restaurant. So that was a good time that we had.
Now, Lynn Richards says the next time I go to visit my son and grandchildren in Horsforth, she knows where to eat. So when Lynn Richards comes into that restaurant, you treat them like royalty, okay? Because she is your Goldster audience here. And Maria Collins asks, which cooking oil do you usually use? Do you use different cooking oils for different dishes?
I normally just go for a simple one, vegetable oil. So in fact, I mean, 30, 40 years ago, I remember my late mom, she used a lot of coconut oil in her cooking, which is very healthy. So unfortunately, like not easily to get the coconut oil now, so it's rather expensive. But so if you can get coconut oil, it's actually the best.
So it's a new coconut oil costs more, does it?
It does, yeah. So
Yeah.
Now they introduce this palm oil, which is not my something I don't like actually. So yeah, so vegetable oil or sunflower oil, you can use
sunflower oil is good. What's the problem with palm oil?
Well, because of the deforestation and all that, I don't like
that. Right, and the way that it's farmed and cultivated, and that is not good for the planet or the people. Is that right?
Unfortunately, yeah. So for people like me, like cooking, using oil, so that's how we support it actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna show you this stuff. You can see how it turns out. I didn't put any oil whatsoever, so it's just that coconut block itself. And there you go. Okay.
And that is all of the stuff that you cut and stamped up. That's what we're seing there. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And now what do we do with it?
What I'm going to do is, let me just put this on the plate. I'm going to put all these ingredients I've chopped on the plate, and then I'm going to thinly slice the kaffir lime leaf.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to see my knife skill again, Humphrey?
You say again?
Do you want to see my knife skill chopping the?
Yes, please. Yes, we want to see every nook and cranny of your craft.
I think this cleaver might keep us scared a bit actually. Right, let me just wipe this first.
This is a technical experiment for Goldster, so it doesn't really matter if it all falls down. We will forgive.
There you go. So, okay, with the kaffir lime leaf, the best is to remove from the ribs. So take it off. So that's how you kind of make the leaves kind of like more fragrant. So just stir it. It's fine. So for some recipes, what they do is like they just put a whole leaf in rundown. But I prefer to thinly slice it, because if you put a whole leaf, most people just like discard it. I mean, they won't eat it. So yeah. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to fold this. Okay. So fold this and then slice this.
Okay. It has to be a sharp knife. Sharp chopper.
Only go this fast if you're well trained. Okay, so don't try this at home without my proper training from me. Well, you can also try my martial arts.
I might lose the end of my finger if I do.
Okay.
So Maria asks, what leaves are these?
Kaffir lime leaves. Let me just show you what it looks like. Okay, in the packet. There you go. So this come frozen. I mean, in Malaysia, we grow this in our backyard actually, so you can just easily like
bring it down a bit so we can see the title. Just lower it a bit.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. That's it. Kaffir lime leaves.
Kaffir lime leaf.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
There you go. Okay. Yep. So so this come frozen. So if you go into like a Chinese or Thai supermarkets, you'll see this in the freezer. So like the fresh one. Yeah? And you can always just put it back in the freezer after using it.
We have some questions here about the use of hands. Are you cooking, or can you answer them?
Yes, no, I can.
You can cook and answer. Emma says, traditionally in my culture, people use their right hands when eating. It's surprising how cultures can have similarities as well as differences. And Suri says, what if someone is left-handed? Is it still considered rude?
Yes, I think I prefer for you to use a spoon, fork and spoon actually. Don't use the left hand if you're left-handed. So it's a custom, it's a tradition. I mean, you have to eat it with right hand. So I don't know. Yeah, so that's how it works in Malaysia. Actually talking about that, my brother is left-handed. Okay, but he still eats with the right hand. Yeah. So yeah.
So Emma comes. I think this is right. Emma, correct me if I'm wrong. Emma comes from Zimbabwe. Which is where the cultures use the right hands, and then in Malaysia it's the left. So
So in Malaysia it's the right hand we have to use, not left.
Oh, it's the right hand. So it's the same culture, exactly the same culture then. Yep, great.
Okay, right. So I can still answer the questions while cooking this. So let me just transfer this dish to rundown. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Close Let me just move all these ingredients. Right, let's see whether you can see close.
Okay, this is the finale, is it? That we're brilliant.
So you can see how dry it is as well. And then I didn't put any oil in this dish earlier, so you can see the oil kind of split.
Okay, a little closer. Okay, yep.
Yeah. So and the oils, well, it comes from the chicken fat and also from the coconut milk actually. So I use a can of coconut milk, about 400 ml. So you can see how dry. So rendang is supposed to be a dry curry. Yeah. So now I'm going to tip and put this toasted coconut straight in.
Yeah.
And then also, I hate to see any waste, so just scrap everything from the pan. There you go.
Okay.
And I'm going to sprinkle over this kaffir lime leaf. That's going in. And give a good stir.
Yeah.
So we're going to cook this for like a minute or two, and then that's it. It should be ready. Yeah.
Okay. And when you say cook, you're sort of warming it and stirring it, are you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what I hate about the electric cooker, because like you have to get, play around with the buttons and everything. Normally I just turn this off like this and put it back on. I prefer gas. I say a fire, proper fire.
And we have a couple more questions about oil. Can you answer those, or are you focused on the dish?
Yeah, I can answer the question.
Suri mentions palm oil is unhealthy as well as raising cholesterol, and Cyril says why coconut oil is expensive in Malaysia where they grow coconuts.
Well, the reason why, because they cut down all these coconut trees to grow palm trees for the oil. So yeah, so you can only find this coconut tree in some part of Malaysia, in Perak, for example. That's between Kuala Lumpur and Penang. So there's still some kind of a coconut tree plantation. And yeah, so.
But in your village near Butterworth, have they all been cut down?
Yes, unfortunately, the village is becoming smaller and smaller because to allow the new developments with all these expensive apartments and all that. So unfortunately, yeah.
So there's sort of seemingly idyllic and exotic bamboo huts on the water of what become housing estates, have they?
Yeah, but gladly to say the village, sorry, the house where I grew up, and it's still there. And yeah, almost get me emotional, like every time I visit the village, because the house where I grew up and played around it, and then yeah, so it's still there. Amazingly, still there, because my parents sold that house to this couple, and they still maintain it well. So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is something that I'm gonna include that in my culinary tour actually to Malaysia, which I'm doing it in September.
Oh yes, tell us about that briefly. You're doing it. What is it? What are the dates? And can people sign up to it?
We're flying out on the 23rd of September, so we're spending 2 weeks in Malaysia. So we're gonna land in Kuala Lumpur, get to Kuala Lumpur first, explore Kuala Lumpur. Then after that, we're going to the Pangkor Island for a bit of a retreat. So that's a resort. But we're still going to run a masterclass there. So cooking with me. So we're going to get some fresh seafood from the fishing village. And yeah, so we're going to do our first masterclass there. And then we're going to Penang, my hometown. And that's where we're going to go visit my late dad's village in Panaga, in Kuala Batas. So that's about half an hour drive. So that is kind of a nice and beautiful, like a paddy field area. Yeah, so that's where my cousin lives actually. So
and all of those details are on your website, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
My website normanmusa.com. So you'll see on this homepage, there's a screen for you to click the button. So that will get you to the flyers and with all the details how to book with Odyssey World, who's organizing this tour. So Odyssey World based a UK-based tour.
Okay.
Right? So they organize everything. So we're gonna be staying at all these nice posh hotels. Like E&O is my favorite. That before, yeah, Eastern and Oriental in Penang. So that's my favorite hotel in Penang. Very colonial, from Saki's brothers. And so in Penang, we're going to do lots of things. Of course, we're going to eat all the food as well. So, and we're going to Malacca as well. I'm sure you've been to Malacca as well, right?
Yeah, well, I have, but I'm sure. I mean, it sounds like a fantastic trip for anybody that wants to. Now that COVID is over, you don't have to quarantine, do you, in Malaysia anymore?
No.
That's all finished. Yep.
Yeah, from 1st of April, I mean, the government has opened up the international border, so that's why I'm all excited to take the guests to Malaysia actually. Yeah.
Okay. Right, we better have a taste of this dish because we're going to be running out of time soon. So tell us where we are with it.
Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's nice and dry. That's how the rendang should be, right? So again, I use the whole chicken, so cut into small pieces. So this is very kind of a typical Malaysian way of cooking it, even with the skin on. But if you don't like chicken on bones, the best way to do, well, the best part of chicken to use is a chicken thighs. Okay, boneless chicken thighs, because it gets, so it won't get too dry if you use chicken breast. Okay. So you can see, I'm gonna get it close to the camera.
Right.
Okay, so you probably can see fibers from the lemongrass and all that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm not gonna taste it because I'm fasting today. So. So you have to jump on the train and then come up here to Leeds.
So hold on, we've made you cook this dish and you're smelling all this aroma that we can't smell, and you're seeing it all and you can't eat it.
Yes, unfortunately not. So,
but do you eat this with your hands as it is? It must be very gooey to do that.
With all Malaysians, like we prefer to use with my use hand actually. So when I visit my sister in The Hague, and so we always use our hand to eat it actually.
Okay. That's it. Denise says, "Thank you, Norman. You have made this dish doable for me. I plan to make redang the next time my family visit. They will be surprised. Pleasantly, I hope." Let us know, Denise.
That's what I love doing, to make sure that it's accessible for everyone. And they always ever so scared to get to think whether they can get all the ingredients. So so the book is actually designed for people in the UK, right? To make sure that everyone can always get the alternative ingredients they can use. Yeah.
Just run through for us the ingredients that you used. I know you showed us and told us. Just run through it for us so that people can make a note of that.
Okay. So we have the lemongrass, galangal, shallots, onion, dried chilies, garlic, ginger, okay, and coconut milk, together with the toasted coconut, salt and sugar for the seasoning. Yeah. So, but you don't have to add in sugar if you don't like it. So, so you get sweetness from the coconut and all that. And so there's no oil, and that's it. So coffee lime leaf to finish off.
And you had prepared before the base of the dish. How long does the total preparation take for it?
Okay, the preparations could take about 15-20 minutes just to chop everything. So for the novice cook, probably just half an hour. So for me, chopping really fast and all that. And then it takes about an hour to get to the stage when it gets dry, and then before you're ready to add in your toasted coconut and also kaffir lime leaf.
Okay, so an hour and a half or so, or within 2 hours, you'd have it done.
Yeah. That's it. Actually, it works better if you have a slow cooker. So you can leave it in the slow cooker untouched, and then it'll be ready.
Absolutely. Now I've got 1 minute. I want to ask you one more question. Then we're going to talk about what's coming up, and then I'm going to come back to you. But in this minute, we talked about the Thai food and the Vietnamese food. What about the Indian food influence on Malaysian food?
A lot in Malaysia. So we do have Indian quarters or Indian, so Indian quarters in Penang. Sorry, not Indian quarters, Little India in Penang, for example. So you can see lots of nice food and all, very vibrant. And this is something I like about going to Little India. They always put loud music, to create that kind of atmosphere. So
in the night markets. Have we lost him? Norman has gone from our screens. Can anybody see him? If anybody can see or not see Norman, let us know in the chat. Meanwhile, I will tell us what we have got coming up. Tomorrow, Friday, April 22nd, Lucinda is with Lisa Edwards, the author of Cheat, Play, Live, One Woman's Journey to Fearlessness and Freedom. What is all that about? Thursday, April 28th, Lucinda with Caroline Busher, prize-winning young adult author based in Ireland. Her most recent novel is The Legend of Valentine's Sorrow. And then Friday, the April 29th, next Friday, I am with Goldster Book of the Month, and it's here, there. It is Voltaire's Candide, and it's a thin book, so read it if you can, and tell us what you think about it. It's everything, it's very philosophical about everything being for the best in the best of possible worlds. Is that right or wrong? Is it naive or hopeful? And Norman might be back again. Let's see, we've just admitted him into the room. Whilst he comes up, Thursday, May the 5th, Lucinda is with Henrietta Heald, and a really, really good biography called Magician of the North about William Armstrong, the great Victorian inventor, industrialist, and visionary. I'm now going to see if we have got Norman back. No. Can anybody see Norman? Ellen says he's disappeared. Norman, are you with us?
Yes, I'm back here. I'm so sorry about that.
That's right. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Let me see.
Ah, brilliant. Brilliant. You vanished and we were all devastated. And there's a couple of questions, but I'll finish our promotions because the last one, and I don't really go this far without, you missed our promotions, but this is the important one for you. Friday, May the 6th, and I'm only doing this because you're here, Norman. We have got Darina Allen, and she's the magician cook from Ireland who's going to give us recipes and the story of her life. So we're on a sort of cooking spree at the moment. So what I was wondering, Norman, is would there be a decent competition between Malaysian food versus Irish food?
We do like potatoes.
Anything else in common?
But it's sweet potatoes. It's not like normal like Irish potatoes. So we do like potatoes. We use a lot in our cooking. Yeah, sorry, Darina.
and do you have a favorite Irish dish, or is it or do you eat Western food at all?
A lot actually, because I have to kind of like taste my taste bud because I'm used with like cooking and eating Malaysian food. I always go for Western food. In fact, I'm going to Sardinia next week actually, just to take time off. And of course, so Italian food is one of them. I'm still yet to explore the Irish food, but always ever so. I do like the Sunday roast, especially.
Brilliant.
That's my
I want to try and get through some of these comments and questions before we have to go. Emma, in your writing, have you mixed travel stories with food stories, bringing in people and food to your books? Just food?
Yeah, actually, for my next book that's coming out in October, I've met some amazing people, and one of them is Maureen Duke. She was born in Burma, and now it's called Myanmar, obviously. She lives in London now. She migrated with her husband when she was 16. And yes, I've known her son, Richard, and also Trisha is Malaysian. And yeah, so I'm going there next month actually to meet Maureen. She's in her 80s actually, so she's still cooking in her high heels. I remember that. When we were live on Facebook, it was watched by more than 100,000 of people. So yeah, so I, with her permission, I put like 3 of her recipes actually. And yeah, so put her name like Maureen's Burmese beef curry, for example, something like that, just to honor her for sharing the recipes. Yeah,
brilliant.
Brilliant. Lots of nice stories actually for people I met in that include in my next cookbook. Yeah.
Now, as we say goodbye, just show us that dish again to the screen, but don't disappear. And I'm going to say that Sue Townley says, great session, a bit different in a good way. Thank you, Norman and Humphrey. Maria, really enjoyable demonstration and discussion. Many thanks. And Jean George really enjoyed this. Many thanks. That is the dish, rendang. Is that right? That we've got.
I'm not going to touch my laptop just in case I want to disappear again. This is what it looks like. I'd rather lift it up.
Oh, okay. What are you going to do with it? You can't eat it. I mean, what do you do?
Well, because you're not coming up to late, so I'm going to take these to. Actually, I'm going to give some to my neighbor. So he said yes to it. So, but he doesn't eat spicy food. So I did put like less chilies in this one, and the rest I'm going to take to my kitchen team. I'm working today at 3 o'clock, so I'm going to spend the kitchen after this. Yeah, so I'm going to take them. Get my kitchen team to enjoy this.
Lovely. All right, but that's it. Emma says include Maureen's photos with the high heels in the book. That's it. The maestro of Malaysia, the tremendous Norman Musa with his amazing Malaysian. Read it, stun your friends and families in bringing exotic Malaysia to the English summer lunch. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the Goldster back office team for keeping us cyber connected, and for the tech whiz, Ben Summers, for launching us in a multi-camera cooking show that we've never done before. Thank you, Norman, for being here and for being such a good sport with it. Until tomorrow with Lucinda and Henrietta, see you soon. Stay involved, stay active, and above all, stay safe. Bye, Norman. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.